12 Chinese DF-21Ds, 90 miles from Florida. US response in minutes, not days. You clicked for that story, this is it. We're breaking down the invisible strike, the $847 million zero-day that gutted those carrier killers before a single bunker was hit. How did Cyber Command poison the BEU satellite receiver firmware, inject false positioning, and cut accuracy to a 40-meter miss while the NSC spun up in 14 minutes? Stay for the full three-phase play, cyber, bunker busting, and JSOC, so you see why the first kill in modern war is often a line of code. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
The Growler battles in a realm that's invisible to the naked eye. The electronic spectrum. One way the Growler does that is by doing something called jamming. Here's how it works. Growler is a key part of every air attack squadron. Its primary purpose, to shut down the enemy's radar.
12 missiles hidden close to US shores, so why did the first shot happen in silence, inside a chipset you've never heard of? Overhead sensors flagged a pattern first. 12 transporter erector launchers tucked into coastal cover, hull down against the skyline, with heat blooms that didn't match civilian traffic. A secure line stitched the feed to a tight NSC huddle. The decision cycle collapsed. Minutes, not hours. The directive was clear and narrow: blind guidance, avoid flash and blast, and keep Havana's lights on. No fireballs. No sirens. Just a knife to the nerves that told those missiles what target meant. The DF-21D sells fear by promising reach. It stalks a moving ship across sea and time, and the legend says it lands steel on deck from a continent away.
The jamming pods overwhelm the enemy's radar by sending out electronic noise. Receiver on each wingtip. These receivers search out the radar signals on the enemy's surface-to-air missile. The jamming pods overwhelm the enemy's radar by sending out electronic noise.
But precision has a leash. That leash is data. Break the handoff, kill the shot. If the stream that feeds its brain goes dirty, the weapon still flies. It just chases a ghost. A sword can be sharp and fast and still cut air when the hand is blind. The kill chain is a relay, not a single throw. Boost phase queuing gets the body moving on a rough arc. Mid-course updates trim drift and wind and a planet that won't sit still. Then the terminal seeker opens a tiny window and hunts for a last known track, trying to square its own sensors with the numbers it was fed. Sitting in that loop is the satellite receiver firmware, the BEU block that acts like a GPS nerve ending, translating skyborne timing into coordinates and confidence. Corrupt that translator, and the math looks fine while the map slides wrong.
And identifies them as safe or a threat. If they're a threat, the Growler activates one of its jamming pods. The information travels to a computer in the Growler's cockpit. Within milliseconds, the computer analyzes the signals.
Per the configuration, we can have up to 3, one on each wing, and they'll be the same. And then we also have the one here on the center line.
A zero-day is not a magic wand. It's a locked side door in code that no one expects you to find. In this door, the receiver trusted a format edge case that felt benign. Squeeze in there and you can nudge time stamps, slip phase bias, or alter how the chip rejects outliers. A millisecond here, a fraction of a degree there, and the guidance believes the world sits a few steps left. Over a long flight, those small lies add up. You don't blow up the missile. You rewrite the word target until it points to sea foam. Code alone doesn't win the room. It sets the bait. The play mixed 3 layers: the firmware exploit seeds the wrong position seed, the uplink adds a gentle tilt to the reference frame, and selective jamming sours every other cue until the poison stream feels like the only stable truth. Jamming stays narrow and polite, just enough to push the receiver into fallback logic. Spoofing speaks softly, always within expected bounds, so the sanity checks nod and pass it through. The firmware quietly tweaks how the filter weighs fresh data, so drift looks like honest noise. Why does a move like this cost $847 million? Closed encryption stacks force you to build tools that speak a language no one shares. Years of research go into modeling how their protocol handles edge cases, resets, and thermal stress. You fund red team labs that abuse chips, flood them with timing anomalies, and measure which errors slip past checks without leaving scars. The goal isn't a banner exploit. It's a gentle push that survives audits and keeps the lie boring. Tempo mattered. The NSC met in minutes, legal and ops at the same table. Execute authority followed inside 2 hours. That cleared cyber fires to lead, staging the electronic hit before a single launcher elevated. Fleet Air stayed outside hard envelope. Ground teams repositioned for follow-on cuts. Once the firmware shift propagated, spoofing took the wheel, and jamming did the steering lock. From there, every subsequent update fixed the missile onto a path that felt calm and correct, toward nowhere. The payoff showed in math, not smoke. Hit odds cratered to a 40-meter miss against a moving hull. Not a clean deck strike, just water churn. Launchers still idled. Hydraulics still worked. But their edge was gone. The first kill was belief. Crews watched confidence bars lie to their faces, and the legend of the carrier killer blinked. With guidance neutered, the mission no longer chased intercepts at the razor's edge. Air and ground shifted to method. Sensors pinned routes. Suppression took out comms vans before they could relay. Teams started shaping the corridor to the bunkers, where steel doors matter and code no longer does the talking. Now we move to the bunkers. The deadliest first move wasn't a blast. It was a quiet edit to reality. Change what a weapon thinks is true, and you steal its punch before it swings. So what would you do if the threat rolled within driving distance of home? Comment your choice below, cut the data, crack the bunkers, or land a team. If you want deeper breakdowns like this, subscribe. The rule that decides shots stays simple. Win the sensors, win the shot. Lose them, and the missile turns into an expensive flare chasing a lie. The next fight will test that rule again, because every kill chain starts with belief.